Most pool owners set their pump schedule using a guess and check approach. They hear run it 8 hours a day from somebody and they just stick with it. Sometimes that works, but a lot of times it means you're just paying way more for electricity than you need to, or you're dealing with water that never stays quite clear. Today on Clearwater Chronicles, we're going to move past the myths and look at the math. I'll show you how to look at pump runtime based on your pool, your equipment, and how you actually use it. We'll talk variable speed pumps, 2-speed pumps, and what changes when your pool shares water with a spa. The goal here is simple: clear water, steady chemistry, and the lowest reasonable operating cost. But before we get started, if you find this kind of content helpful, then hit that hype button if you have one, and be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell also. One of the biggest myths in pool care is that more runtime automatically means cleaner water, and that's not always true. What actually matters is how much water you're moving through the filter and how effectively that water is being filtered. And this is where turnover comes in. Turnover is simply the amount of time it takes to move your pool's volume of water through the system one time. For example, if you have a 20,000 gallon pool and your pump is working at 30 gallons per minute, running it for 4 hours won't even move half of the pool's water. On the other hand, running a pump wide open all day can move a lot of water, but also waste a lot of energy, and in some cases reduce filtration efficiency. Turnover isn't a guarantee of clean water. It's just a starting point, but once you know the flow rate, the number of hours you need becomes math and not just guesswork. This is where variable speed pumps really shine. A common assumption is that running a pump longer will always cost more, but with variable speed pool pumps, that is often not true. In a previous video, I just showed how running a variable speed pool pump 24 hours a day can cost significantly less than running a single speed pool pump for only 8 hours a day. That comes down to affinity law. When you reduce RPM, power usage drops dramatically. Not a little, a lot. Running at low speed all day gives you steady filtration, consistent chemical mixing, and constant circulation, all while using very little electricity. So the right way to think about a variable speed pool pump isn't necessarily how many hours I should run it. It's what is the lowest RPM I can run it at that still gives me enough circulation, skimming, and chlorine production to keep the water clean. 2-speed pumps sit in the middle. You don't have infinite adjustments, but you do have options. High speed is usually reserved for things that need it, like suction cleaners or things that require a minimum flow to operate. Low speed is your efficiency mode. And the key here is to know what those minimum flow rate requirements are. For example, if you have a salt cell that requires 25 gallons per minute to generate chlorine, and your low speed is 30 gallons per minute, that's your sweet spot. If your low speed can't meet that requirement, then the cell may shut off and your pool won't get properly chlorinated. This isn't about guessing. Check the manuals, know the numbers. That's how you avoid wasted runtime and uneven chlorine levels. Now, I own an inflatable spa, but if you happen to have a shared pool and spa system, the challenge usually isn't math, it's circulation. Your spa holds a small volume of water, but it still needs to be refreshed and chlorinated. If you're running a variable speed pool pump at a very low RPM all day long, you need to make sure enough water is actually moving through the spa. That usually means programming regular spillover or scheduling valve changes so spa water gets flushed into the pool. Without that, your pool water can look perfect while your spa water kind of goes slowly stale. Your ideal pump setup isn't fixed forever. It changes with the seasons. Higher water temperature and more sunlight increases chlorine demand. More swimmers bring in more contaminants. So instead of just adding an extra hour to your schedule, think of it in terms of circulation and demand. In peak summer, you may need to move more water each day to keep up. In cooler months, that same schedule may be way more than you need. The goal is matching circulation to conditions, not running a fixed number of hours year-round. The takeaway is simple. Stop letting standard schedules dictate how much you spend and how hard your pool is to maintain. Every pool has a different volume, plumbing layout, sun exposure, and usage patterns. When you understand your flow, your equipment, and your environment, the schedule starts to make sense. If you want to see the full step-by-step math behind why a low RPM variable speed pool pump schedule often wins, check out the video on the screen. I'll walk you through exactly how to calculate it for your own pool. Get the math right and clear water will follow. Thanks for watching, and remember, belly flops build character.